My laptop camera is bad, so I can't connect.
Oh, okay, I get you. I get you. I had to even get an external light. All right. Hey! That's Uyoyo. Uyoyo is my very good friend and one of the baddest photographers that I know and I work with.
Ah, boss.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
Yeah, it's an honor, it's a privilege.
Okay, Omoliabi says she's currently on the road bus, so it can't work. Okay, I have more people coming in. I just don't want us to fly too far and then people join midway and then they're like, what's going on here? Because we're actually going to fly. Will you tell us a bit about yourself?
No, we're ready. I have my book and pen.
Sammy! What's up, man? I'm so happy to see you guys. Like, I'm so excited. Don't mind my mushiness. Okay, okay, someone just joined from the waiting room. So I think we are, how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're about 8 now.
Yeah, we're 8.
There's probably network glitches because we were more than that before, but number is reducing. So I think that's some network-ish. So once, oh, this is 40 minutes long. I thought they had removed the limit.
I think it was just for one weekend.
Chai. All right, so then probably we'll need to run another one once the time is up if we're not done yet. Hi, Kenny. Okay, Kenny's audio is still connecting. So let me try to navigate to the questions. And all right, so we're going to begin in the next 1 minute. Okay. All right, so Omoliabi can't speak because she's on the road. Just before I introduce myself and we kick off, I'd like to just meet you guys. So let's start with, okay, someone is in the waiting room. Let's start with Onojake Mercy. Mercy, can you hear me? I'm currently asking you to unmute so we can hear from you. And just while we wait on Mercy to unmute, let's start with Jesu Tony. That's Uyoyo. So Uyoyo, please tell us a bit about yourself. We'd like to meet you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Uyoyo, the tonographer. Yeah, so I'm a photographer, and then my dad is Elvis, big source of inspiration, man. Yeah.
Great. Tell us more about you. Like, we would like to meet you. Tell us about what you like. What's your best food?
Oh,
if you had your way? If you had your way of living Nigeria tonight, what country are you going to go to?
That's already too much. Okay, so yeah, I said I'm a photographer, and I finished from Covenant University. So I like music as well, and yeah, sound. I'm a technical guy, technical sound guy. Yeah, and I love photography, man. Thank God for people like Elvis who have been there, to show us the way and lead us.
Okay. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. All right, so let's hear from Oliwa Tamilore. Tamilore is one of my favorite persons on earth. So Tami, let's hear from you. I know you're in school, so you may not be able to run your video, but nonetheless, let's hear from you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Hi, Tammy. Can hear you loud and clear, perfectly well.
Great. My name is Tamilore. I'm a photographer. So many things. I'm a photographer, graphic designer, content creator. Yeah, let's go with those top 3. I am a student. Don't help me. I'm a 400 level student of Covenant University.
Woo!
And
it's noisy.
As Tony has said, Elvis is our daddy. He's a big inspiration for us. Yes, while I'm going to be photographer, he's a big inspiration for us. I was
Sammy is a
working
very
today.
good photographer. Please go ahead.
I was working today and I was like, oh, everyone's be so proud of me today.
I'm really proud of you.
I'll just
No problem. I'll call you, sure. Nice hearing from you, Tammy. Okay, let's go with Sammy. Sammy is like one of my newest friends, but he's such an amazing guy. Sammy, please, would like to share in your amazingness.
Yeah, hi everyone. Should I turn on my camera? Do I have to?
Please, let's see your face.
This is set up. Okay. Hi everyone.
Hi, Sammy.
Yeah. My name is Samuel. What's the question again?
Let us meet you. What's we already know your name. What do you do? What's your favorite food?
Okay.
And tell us a fun fact about you. Anything.
Okay, so I'm a technical consultant on visual representation.
Hey.
I feel like you were expecting that.
Yes, I was.
So I can represent anything visually, anything, like absolutely anything, any good thing visually. Right.
Wow. That's exciting.
Yeah. I'm not just a photographer. I don't like to call myself a photographer, even though Elvis thinks that I can be one. But yeah, I agree with everyone. Elvis is our dad. Elvis, you have so many children here.
I don't. Where's the wife?
One fun thing about me, I like to skydive.
Oh, just knowing that now.
Yeah, not like 7 times, but every time I do it, I wake up like, well, I hope.
Oh, okay. So that happens in your dream.
Yeah, but
awesome.
I know I'm going to do it soon. Yeah,
I'll
nice
go
to
with
meet
you.
everyone.
I'll go with you. Meet you too. All right, so let's hear from Kehinde Arokoyu. Hope I pronounced that well.
I don't know if you can.
I can hear a sound from you. Probably the network is not so good, right?
Me. But please, I don't know, but I really do not know how to work this thing because this is my first time of using Zoom. Like,
oh wow,
anyway.
we're honored to be part of your first time using Zoom story experience.
Thank you. So
right.
I should introduce myself, right?
Yes, please.
My name is Kehinde Arokoyu, and but basically people call me Kenny. Okay. I'm a Christian. I'm a graduate of linguistics from Obafemi Awolowo University.
Wow.
I've had a passion for photography for many years now, and I thank God because I feel this year I started making like really, really great moves. So I just want to do what I love, basically.
Amazing.
And yes, I was able to get my camera this month, which was
amazing. Yeah, I remember we spoke about that the first time we spoke, I think.
Yes. So I'm really happy. And I'm glad to work with you all and share things with you all.
Well, so we're glad as well.
But thank you. That's all I've got right now.
All right. Thanks for that, Kehinde. All right. So just because of time and the limit placed on this call, I would like to just go straight into the business of the day. So if you're not speaking, kindly mute yourself. And then once we need you to speak, we'll ask you to unmute just so the network can be less clogged, right? All right, so I intend for this to be a really informative session. And that exactly it's going to be. Okay, so just please mute yourself. More people are coming in. All right, so my name is Elvis Okifo. I'm a son of God. I'm in love with God. I have no life outside Christ, right? I got born again in 2014. All right. In fact, when I even asked guys to introduce themselves on the group chat on Telegram, everybody was like, my name is this. I love Jesus Christ. I'm passionate about sharing the gospel. I was really like, wow, I think we should just have like a 30 minutes prayer session before we go ahead, right? But I trust that God can move in any circumstance and any context, right? Because one of his greatest passion is to reach people, to touch the heart of a man, right? Of course, that's why he came to die as in his son Jesus Christ for our sins, right? And believing in his work gives us access to him and eternal life. Okay, so like I said, my name is Albis Okifo. I'm quite a number of things, but I'm just identified as a creative, basically. I'm a photographer. I'm also a creative strategist, right? So I work with creative teams to bring ideas to life. I'm also a brand and marketing communications consultant. So I run advertising stuff on the side as well. Not on the side, but more like side by side with my photography, right? So everything that I do all evolves from my love for creating things and being able to see how things created can translate into value that is able to build a brand or a person's image or a brand's image, and help companies basically discover and communicate their essence, and also become profitable, right? Helping them understand their vision, why they do what they do, how to engage their industry and their sector. And also, yeah, that's that about that. So just before I go into the exhibition of a few of my works, let me just take the first question here. Okay, so the first question on Telegram says, how do you prepare yourself before a job? I think that's already going really, really, really far into the session. So what I can just do, I'll share my screen now, and then I'll talk about a few of my works, right? So hopefully you'll be able to see the shared screen. Okay. I hope you can see this. Just hold on. Let me work this out. Okay, apparently if I share my screen, I will not be able to record this meeting. So I believe I should just go into the questions first. Right. All right, so the first question here says...
Oh, it shouldn't happen that way now.
Oh, yeah?
Because, yeah, you can record and share screen at the same time, except that's a restriction for maybe first timers. I'm not sure, but I know that you can. You can share screen.
Okay, let me try that again. I can share and record at the same time, yeah?
Yeah, you can.
Because this is going on YouTube. All right, let me try that one more time.
Okay, but if it doesn't work, we can just go ahead so that we don't waste time.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay, I think it's
now.
sharing now. Sharing now, yeah, that's correct. Okay, let me just be sure that it's still recording before we go too far. Okay, I believe the recording is still on. All right, still recording. Okay, so let's go into let's get this done. Sammy, you can still, I think you just be my anchor man. So just let me know if you can still see the screen clearly.
Yes, I can.
Awesome, great. So I'll start from, let's go down. You know, my photography, I started out with my iPad. I never really intended to take photography, you know, this far, basically. I just had an iPad and I love taking pictures. And then I heard about an app called Snapseed, which is an app that is used in editing, right? So I just learned how to edit my photos on my iPad. And then I, you know, kept on practicing and all. I just had this passion and drive to tell stories. right? Up until when I was asked to buy a camera, I didn't have money, so I had to sell punch in CU. That's a drink whereby you mix Eve and pure water with, and you cut some, you cut an apple into tiny pieces, right? And then you mix it with pineapple and several other things and just add a lot of water and then sell a bottle for like 100 naira. So I was selling in all the halls basically, and I had help from a lot of friends, you know, so we're selling and making about 5 to 10K every day. So we did that for about 2 weeks. That's coupled with some other things that I did. I was able to raise some money to buy a camera. And the day I got my camera, this was the very first picture I took. So just before I fly, Sammy, let me know if you can still hear me and see this clearly.
Absolutely, I can.
Awesome. All right, so this was, I still remember this picture. I was in a, let me just be Nigerian. I was inside Keke, right? On my way back home from where I was working then. Right, so I was working as the IT/tech guy for a certain, it was a clothing line, yeah, it was a clothing line in Warri. They're called GDocs Clothing. Right, so I was working for them, and you know, this was when I got the camera on this day, and I was on my way back home. It was in the evening. I think it was about 5:35 p.m. Yeah. So I was just trying to test out my camera, and then I brought it out of my bag, you know, and then I took a picture, see what it was going to look like. And my first shot came out. I'm really proud of this picture, right? And it means a whole lot to me because I believe what I wrote in the caption here, I said perspectives, experiences shape perspectives. People see life based on what and where they have been through. Don't be quick to judge a person's decision. Find out how they arrived at such points first. And that's basically, you know, being inside the keke and then there was color, but outside is black and white, right? So you seeing this image is kind of like, it's kind of like a picture of how we see life differently, right? So the screen of the keke is kind of like a screen whereby we all see life from. So what he is seeing, obviously, is color. But in my edits, I made the colored parts of the image black and white just to show that, okay, it's just a way of saying that we see life in different ways, right? So a person's decision, what a person decides to do, good or bad, yeah, of course, not like eccentricity is accepted in society, but whatever makes a person behave or act a certain way, or whatever makes a person judge a certain circumstance in a certain way, it's usually based on how their experiences have, you know, shaped their perspective of life, you know. So I know a lot of people who, or I've heard of people who, you know, grew up in abusive homes. They always saw their dad beat their mom, or they were abused by either parents or a house help, and then they were not really exposed to going out a lot, right? And so they grew up in that kind of atmosphere, and then by the time they started to engage the world, maybe during NYSC, they had a very reserved demeanor, had a very reserved you know, way of approaching things and talking to people because of what they had experienced, right? So people may be like, this girl or this guy is really reserved, she doesn't have good social skills, you know. Yeah, all those things are not great things, but before we are so fast to, you know, say this person is like this and write them off, I think it's good to just have conversations. I mean, one emotional conversations with them to know, you know, how they got there and see how we can help. This picture actually was featured on Canon's. I was jumping when I got a DM and an email from Canon Africa. I'm like, whoa, this thing that people do. I was on the road. I was like, what? Now this picture was just me. I was inside the keke again, you know, on my way to work. Now it was 10:35. I was resuming by 11 a.m. You know, on this particular day. I think it was a Thursday. I can't really remember now. And then I just put my camera out, and then I saw, okay, let me take a picture. And when I was editing this image, and the keke was moving really fast. So till now, I don't know how I, you know, got this image and it was this perfect. I have no idea, right? I mean, this is I should sell this for like $5 million. Why? Because the story actually spoke to me at this point of my life. This was 2018. My first lens, it was a kit lens, right? A zoom in, an 18-55mm lens. So, you know, we have this guy pushing a wheelbarrow going to the left, and then we have two hands from guys on the other side, you know, pointing to the right of the frame now, you know, and then it seems like they are saying go this way, but the wheelbarrow is now going the other way. And then I said, focus. the crowd isn't always right. So keep running your race. At the tunnel's end, there is light. And I was just trying to rhyme. I'm a very poetic person. I've just not explored that sphere of my passion to its fullest. But like this picture really speaks to me even till now, right? Because everyone can be saying go this way. Everyone then was saying it's a very stupid thing for you. You don't have any money. You've saved 200K and then you're using all your money to buy a camera and you don't have any hope of how, you don't have any marketing plan. You don't have people who love your work. You don't have a client base that you can begin to, explore. You don't have anything. And then the only money you saved when you are broke, like I literally didn't have money. When I bought my camera, I was owing somebody 4K because I borrowed 4K to complete I had 196. I borrowed 4K from my sister to complete the 200K, So everyone was saying, don't buy a camera, save the money, invest in stocks, buy something else, use to start a small business, so many things that people were saying, but I already knew what I wanted. And the vision was not so clearly articulated. I just knew it was something that I wanted to give my all to, So this image really means a lot to me. And then Canon CN Africa featured on their page and CN Niger rather. Yeah, see that this is their handle. I was always tagging them until they see my work, All right, so I will not spend too much time in my old work, but this was just one of my pictures, going back home. It was coming to work rather. It was in the morning by 10:55 a.m. Thank God I have all these timestamps here. So what really caught me was, it's written here. Sammy, can you see my cursor?
Yes, I can.
All right, so it's written on this where this guy is sitting, just under him. You see, drink and drive, and I believe that there was I promise you, this was not edited. I think somebody said, yeah, this guy said Airport Junction, I can see Mother already. So it's quite a popular place. So people knew this part of Warri, right? And then I did not edit this don't out. It just happened to be there, and there's this guy who appears to be homeless, and then it says drink and drive. The image just really spoke to me, man. Right. And then what did I even write here? What is my plenty capping? I said, he who has a white live for can be almost anyhow. Right, so I don't ask me how the caption relates to the image, okay, but excuse me, it's just drink and drive. I don't know, it's just mad. All right, so a whole lot of work, Yeah, so we can see two people. We can see an old man really just they are both in the same context. So we see a young man walking in the same context, we see an old man in that same context. So just imagine that this young man here eventually becomes this old man here. I'm not saying that either of them is successful or either of them is not successful. My caption here is simple. I said, get busy living or get busy dying. So this guy may have found comfort in whatever he's doing, and then he may keep on repeating whatever he's doing until he becomes old and is still in that same place. There's no progress, right? So that was really what just inspired this image. There's a whole lot of psychological talk to it, like the bridge coming down, the guy walking away from the bridge, So it's more like the law of diminishing returns. Oh, great. Awesome. Great. So Zoom has removed the limits, I believe. Yeah. Okay, just say thank you, Zoom. I think someone from Zoom is watching this, so they like how I talk. Okay, so I think you should just check out my page actually. And I have like great captions for all of this image. So this is the guy that I normally buy shoes from in Warri. His name is Endurance, I believe. His name is Endurance. He's my official shoe vendor when I was in Warri about 3 years ago. Anyway, if next time I get back to Warri, I'm probably going to pay him a visit. I'm probably just cop like 1 or 2 shoes. His shoes are really good and quite cheap. I mean, the shoe is holding now. I got it then for like 10,000 naira, and I mean that was a very good deal. Right, so I just spoke about him. So at this point, I was already getting to understand the importance of having the human factor in my work. Okay, so excuse me. Right, I started to understand having the human factor and what it does to my story. Right, instead of just taking more of landscapes, and I was never really going to be a landscape photographer, but I love landscapes, and I also apply it in my portrait works. Right, so we have this image of this guy. So I remember this was my very first event that I ever shot in my life, and guess what? I was not invited to shoot. It was just a church in Warri. I saw it was open. I helped someone carry, I think it was a guitar. I helped someone carry a guitar to this particular venue, you know, and then I saw that there was a church service and I was welcome. So I just brought my camera out and I was literally on the ground for this shot. I'm sure you can tell, you know how tall I am. And for me to be at the same level with this boy dancing, right, I really had to go down. And then he just looked to me like when I was experiencing this particular moment, you know, as a photographer, my life has actually been more of me experiencing. So most of my old works and even translating more into my recent works have been an expression of me just feeling stuff. It's just an expression of my feeling at certain points, right? So I said, excuse me. So I said, there's a moment where we, when we truly discover who we are, that's when true adventure begins, right? So like this boy was, if you could have been here when he was dancing, he literally just, you know, lost, what's the word now? He lost consciousness of every other thing happening around him. And he was just in the moment. And the boy was a stepper, like he was stepping, right? So, but the way they were looking into their eyes, it became like a dance off in church. It was a very, you know, it was a Catholic church. And it was a very fun, you know, moment. I really loved it because I want to just be like that, you know, just get lost in purpose, get lost in what you're doing and just, you know, find free expression, not trying to please anyone, but you just trying to be you. See, the thing about life is, I'm already capping, but the thing about life that I've noticed is people, you know, browsing social media, you start to see so many persons doing stuff and everybody's celebrating them. If you don't have a guarded mind and heart, that kind of activity is going to make you think, okay, let me start to do what this person is doing so that people can love me as well. And but what you may not realize is that a lot of these persons that you see doing stuff that you know, that they love and people are celebrating them, it was just them finding expression, doing what they like to do, you know, being themselves or being better, refined versions of themselves. And I assure you that there is space for you in this world, right? I mean, there is space for your uniqueness. So this was the very first wedding I shot as well. I didn't have a flash, a speed light or anything. I just had my camera. And at this point, I had already gotten my 35mm Yongnuo lens for like 35K then. So this was my very first portrait shoot. It was of my other brother. And I was really impressed with this work because it was like my very first work. And yeah, so I said the most beautiful things in the world cannot be touched or seen. They can only be felt with the heart. Well, I stole this from the internet and I didn't credit the person. Forgive me for that. Yeah, but it was a quote that I just took off the internet and it's not mine, but I was just really browsing about life that day on Google and then I saw this quote and it really just, you know, spoke to me about the image and I'm really just grateful. If you see the before and after, you never believe because I've been editing my life out at this point. This was a woman at the junction of it's a popular place in Warri called Refinery Road, right? So she's a homeless person, and there was an increase in the number of homeless persons in Warri, right? What I wrote here was nothing is worse than knowing something. Beside knowing, you can never have it. I mean, just imagine what could be on this woman's mind, seeing all the fancy cars, you know, driving by, seeing the houses. This right here is ShopRite. You can already see Mr. P and this Delta Mall rather. So ShopRite is here as well. Excuse me. So just imagine seeing all those cars, seeing people moving with their families, and then that feeling that you can never really have it. It's not really a good feeling, man. It's so not a good feeling, right? And this period, I was always with my camera. It was literally always. I mean, if I'm walking on the road, anything I see, I didn't plan to make money. True. Like this is me just being sincere to you. I didn't want to just tell stories, basically, you know. So this is my neighbor's child. His name is Kelechi. I got back home, my camera still in my hand. He was outside playing. Took a picture of him. Yeah, my first wedding. Yeah. So this young girl here. Why this caught my attention was I'm sure you can see this guy here and this guy here, you know, everybody taking picture. I believe this was the groom coming towards this way, while everybody really just, you know, did not pay attention to this girl. And I'm such a person that I have trained myself to observe what people are not observing until it became a part of me about 3 years ago, or 4 or 5, or whenever it became a part of me, right? So I noticed that everybody's attention was on the groom coming, but nobody really paid attention to the girl. So that was my story. So this image as well as this image as well, everybody paying attention to the person who they are trying to shoot, then me paying attention to them, and I'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, that's basically why I took the girl's picture. So that was the story, right? And it's basically how this is usually the first phase of creative discovery, when the person wants to discover what they truly want to do. There's this point where you have to back away from the attention, because if you're getting attention for the wrong thing and you keep on doing that thing, you are going to get lost in doing the wrong thing. And just like we believe as believers, there is a specific plan that God has for your life. And then imagine if you now get so busy and so successful, as it were, doing or fulfilling another man's assignments. Let's say you start a church, you start a work in Ibadan or somewhere, and then you start getting really busy. Church is growing, people are getting saved. That is good work, and of course there is joy in heaven for the soul of a sinner that repents, right? So for everybody who comes to Jesus, there is joy, but that may not be what God wanted you to do. I'm not talking about the evangelism or starting the church. I mean, starting that church in Ibadan, God probably had, of course, every believer is called to win souls for the gospel, but more specifically, things like location and other things that he would have had you do were hindered because you were in Ibadan. And that's where things were working out for you, right? So, but not trying to preach, just letting you know that there must be a point where you must literally look away from the attention and find yourself, right? Yeah. I was mentioned God a whole lot, sorry, don't be offended. If you are, can I help you? All right, so this image as well, it was at my friend's, I believe it was his parents' anniversary at Sapele. His name is Joshua Adebeshin, my very good friend. I was just in the house, I had my camera there, so I was taking some pictures, Yeah, this guy was literally the best tailor in Warri. He was always so joyful. He was earning like 1K per cloth that he sold. He was selling like maybe 4 to 5 every day. He was so fast, and he's literally the most efficient tailor I've ever met in my life, right? I just have to take a picture of him in his elements, basically, right? Because he's always so joyous. Like literally nothing can make Audu bring him down. Well, not in our front. I don't know what happens when he gets home, but right? So, okay, look at this image now. So before you even look at it, look at the caption. I said, fortitude. Stevie Wonder became a successful songwriter without vision. Helen Keller. I did a lot of research to write all these. I didn't have all these facts in my head. Helen Keller was the first deaf, blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. You are deaf and you are blind. How do you earn a Bachelor of Arts degree? Please, I don't know. Help me. Nick Vujicic. The guy that doesn't have arms and legs. He became a world-renowned speaker, though born with tetra amelia syndrome, which means he doesn't have arms and legs, right? Finally, this car on the road, without the left back tire, I was on my way to school. This was 2018. Yeah, I was on my way to school, and then I was in the bus, right, from Warri to Lagos or Ota. Can't remember now. I think it was Lagos, Yanapaja. And look at this car was moving in our front for a really long distance, and the car was fast. Like, literally, what's your excuse? If this car can move with only 3 legs, whereas when you check the definition of a car, right, or a vehicle in this context, you will see that, okay, it's a four-wheeled machine made to transport humans, goods, and whatever from point A to point B. But look at this car, only has 3 legs. I mean, it can cause a very disastrous accident. But nonetheless, it was moving. So what's your excuse? You have 2 legs, you have 2 hands. And even if you didn't, you still have no excuse. I mean, look at this lady. She literally earned a Bachelor of Arts degree without eyes and the ability to see or hear. So this was my first portrait in school. No, not that this was, it was this, I believe, of my friend. This was the day I resumed school, I think. I'm not so sure now. What day was this? August 19th. I think so. Either that day or the next day. And then my friend, I saw him and I just took his picture, I just really liked the bouquet, right? So let's go to my recent. Okay, so this was in my room. My good friends, Boma, CJ. I mean, these are the guys that really inspired me to pursue photography. So they needed a place to set up and try out some lighting setups. So they came to my room with Dion Martins here. So they came to my room and then they, they ran this setup and then they took a picture of me as well. And I think I removed it because I was looking too serious. This is my good friend Dion. I shot the picture. I edited it, one of them. Okay, no, I shot it, then somebody else edited. Yeah. Excuse me. So let's go in. Right, so this is still my best image of all time. An image of my good friend. Her name is Dolu Modoluwamu. She's a very awesome and amazing person. Right, she's the girlfriend of one of my also very good friends. His name is Tony. I'm saying so you don't start catching feelings. All right, so this image was one particular Sunday. I mean, nobody really knew me in school then. So the bulk of my time was taken by me just, taking my camera outside after chapel service, or after any event. I just look for anybody who I think is looking really good. I'm like, hey, come. So I was learning a lot about lighting here. And then you can, and lighting and composition. I saw the arrangement of the trees. You can see that there are 3 trees on the left and on the right. And then she's kind of like in what we can call the middle of the perspective that is forming behind. So they're like leading lines that are leading to her, basically. And then we have the shades or the leaves from this tree forming like a shade. So there isn't so much light behind, and we have lights falling upon her, right? So, I mean, it was really it for me. I just loved her dress, and she was looking really beautiful on this day, and I couldn't just, I would need to frame this image and have it in my house, my studio, or my museum soon when I start it. Right, so that's that for that. This is my good friend Amarachi. I just love her eyes, and I took a picture. Yeah. All right, so this was the first image that I think I took from a different perspective. My good friend Favor has been one of my #1 supporters, and she was really, really always like, Elvis. Then I was charging 5K. This was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was charging 5K. She was like, Elvis, you're too good to be charging 5K. Stop, charge more. And for those of you who will watch this from outside Nigeria, I mean 5,000 naira, not $5,000. Because now I don't charge that for portraits, right? So. And then I just decided to try something different. My camera had this swivel screen. It was a Canon 750D, right? And yeah, I just took the camera up, turned the swivel screen downwards, and just took a picture. And I really loved it. I still love it till now. Okay, so this was the first time I tried out an 85mm lens. I think I should go in now. So. Sammy, can you guys still hear me well?
Yes, boss.
Awesome. So are you guys having a nice time? Is this are you having a good time? Let me hear from you, Sammy, and maybe somebody else.
Amazing. I'm enjoying it.
All right. So
someone else could. I feel like I've gone to your page before, but now hearing the story behind most just makes it incredible. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Can we hear from somebody else? You're the first person to start speaking. All right, Daniel, let's hear from you.
But I've gone to your page, thanks to that number, and I've been to hear the illustrations behind every image that is quite on the page now. Of course, the part that got me is the fact that you don't have to be yourself and understand the fact that everybody that is being celebrated out there are expressing their self before being celebrated. So
yeah.
That one, so thank you so much. Keep up. Yeah.
All right. Amazing. Thanks for the feedback. So let me, there's a whole lot to talk about, but I don't want this to be so long. Let me see which image. So apparently a lot of people like this image, right? And I think it's really special to me because this was the very first time that I shot with Ada. It was for a friend who also worked for or with a certain clothing line here in Lekki, not too far from my house, right? So it was for her clothing line, not Ada's clothing line, the girl's clothing line. I think the name of the brand is Zinia.ng. Right, so this was my first fashion shoot, and I had always learned to act the part. So when they called me for the job, I was like, yeah, sure, I'm a badass fashion photographer. I didn't know she. Right, but I called them up, and then we met at, I just called my friend, hey, Mario, what's up? Could we use your estate for a quick photo shoot? And then she was like, oh yeah, sure, why not? So she was the plug for location, and then we came over, and then I didn't know what to do. I promise you, but these are still like few of my best fashion works. It was my very first fashion shoot, and I just told Ada, like, okay, so Ada, let's just have fun, just be you, do you, and then we're really just having fun. There was no strict. I really love this image so much, there was no strict it must be like this or be like that. And the reason why it's special to me is because on this day I knew that I wanted to work with Ada, because I was shouting literally, like I was so ecstatic, because this was the first time I was shooting someone and I didn't have to direct her, like, do this, do your hand like this. She was just so natural. Like, before I think about something, she would just do it. I'm like, who is this person? So I just decided that, okay, I wanted to work with Ada, but I didn't know what, up until a few days ago. And then even today, we spoke today. And then, so she's currently now the art director of Stoffel Africa for our advertising and marketing arm. And it's really so amazing, because I'd like to show you her page, but I don't want to distort this arrangement. All right, so because I may have to start loading the page and scrolling down again, but an amazing person. That marked the beginning of my fashion photography. Anyway, I shot this image at a hotel. Esther, she said, Elvis, you must be my birthday photographer of no matter. I said, no problem. So they, got me down in an Uber, got me and my equipment all the way from Lekki down to somewhere, one hotel. They booked an entire floor, I think, just so that we could do our shoot. And I was really honored to have been, the person to do this, right? So yeah, okay. So this image, there's a lot to talk about, but first time shooting a guy without shirts, showing us all these contours and bezels. Right. So Mike was so he's the brother of my good friend Finn Gambo. Right. So Finn reached out to me, like, after I shot for Finn's movie premiere at Film House at Surulere. Then his brother and his friend, they were like, oh, are you Story of Elvis? Wow, we've heard so much about you, all those plenty wines, that he would love me to shoot him for his birthday and some other stuff. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So I got to the house. I didn't know what to do. For most of all the shoots, I didn't know what to do. I've always just been making it up as I walked, as it came, basically. And that's what I really just want to say. A lot of you, the reason why you're not pushing yourself is because you don't think you can do it. I didn't think I could do it as well. But I'm so excited about failure, because it teaches me how not to do something. And I noticed that what really has been stopping me in the past was my failure to explore. So when I was able to overcome that failure to explore, and I decided to, okay, so beyond this, let me go and fail. What's the worst that will happen? I won't get it. I won't die now. You get? So like, let's just go and do it. Let's go for it. And each time I fought, I won the war of myself, I always found much more, to what I could do. And the more you face your fears, the more confident you become, basically. I just go back to school here, and then on a certain Sunday, I just changed my camera here to a Nikon D750, and it's 5mm lens from my good friend Shokwe Adelaja. Right, so I shot this image, and I didn't even know that my shutter speed was going to make these raindrops appear, because a lot of persons thought that I edited this in Photoshop, and I was like, I didn't. I so did not. It just came out, happened to be so. I mean, you can also see the same thing here, but because of the shutter speed, if not for the drops on her dress, people still believe that it's Photoshop till now. Like, who has time to start drawing all these lines or copying and pasting or applying whatever? I didn't have time for that. I just shot the image. I didn't do a lot of editing. You can even tell it was perfect from the frame. And I don't believe that photography is about you doing heavy edits. That's really what inspired this work, because the model I was meant to shoot on this day actually disappointed me. So, but what happened was, God had other plans. The day before this shoot, I saw Amarachi, in chapel, and I was like, hey, Amma, what's up? I think you're really beautiful. I would like to use you for a photo shoot tomorrow. Are you free? She was like, yeah. And then, this was 2019, we were in school. I did not even discuss anything about makeup or outfits. I said, just come as you are. I like your face like that. So she literally came as she was. So she's not on makeup. You can really tell here. Do I have the before image? Okay, I don't have the before there. I think I have the before in one of them. Yes. So this is what she looks like without makeup. Like, she's so perfect already. And I didn't need to do too much, right? Just change the skin tone a bit, just because I'm just trying to build reputation for gold skin tone. While I was doing this, then that's what I really just like to do then. So I was doing that then. But I didn't really do so much. I just, yeah. But I love this image a lot. I love it so much. This is the before. So I did a whole lot of work on the hair And it was started by my good friend Bethel. Yeah, Bethel is a product and UI UX person now, doing really really big things in design, right? But she was always coming through for me then. So we all just came together, used one of our offices there, and then just created this image. So I did a lot of work on her hair, you know, in the editing, and it turned out to be one of my really really good works. All right, let's come more recent. I shot this in a room, by the way. No backdrop, just the room's wall. Yeah. All right, this image. It was not planned. It was really not planned. You know, I can be very funny at times. So I just said something and it made her laugh. And I was just at the perfect time with the perfect camera settings, you know, and with the perfect person as well. So she had a very natural and pure expression, right? That's the thing. I mean, when you work with persons who are, when you can find that ground of freedom in your shoots, right, it will really help. So before you shoot, and don't try to be all about, okay, so I charge 50,000 naira per portrait session. Have you paid? All right, come. Suppose do like this, do like that. I think you have a bet because the reason why I'm a portrait photographer is because I love people. I mean, I love people, and yeah, I love to just meet people. I love to know people. I love to get to know you. How can I be of value to you? Tell me about you. You know, how can I help you be a better you? I would like you to also help me become a better me as well. You know, so that just makes me like I remove the whole what's the word now? The encapsulation of the fact that we're having a photo shoot from the whole image. So I'm like, let's just, you know, let's just have fun and create. Most of my shoots, even the ones that have just one outfit, I always shoot about somewhere between 250 to like 400 images, and you only have to pick 3. And that's because I'm shooting the whole time. So I remember something funny that you've told me or that has happened to me. I tell you, and there we go. You know. So yeah. All right, so I think this is a really magical image for me, right, of Tiwa Savage. It was 2019 during the whole Dirty December period, right? So I was shooting for, I believe it was Pepsi, yeah, with my very good friend. His name is D Mayo, right? So he got a contract from Pepsi to shoot for the event, and then I was the assistant photographer on this event, right? So yeah. I really just love how the images came out. Right? See this guy's face. He's like, oh my god, is this really Tiwa Savage? Like, are you the one in my front right now? Man, like, just look at the expressions. This guy, this girl, and then really magical stuff. And then so we came to 2020. And apparently I always start my years with not even planned, like since 2020, I always started out with headshots and family shots, you know. So if I come to 2021 now, started with headshots as well. This image of Reverend Austin, and then okay, I did not post the family image, but I had a family shoot just after this, you know, in that same period. So I'll need to wrap this up in like 5-10 minutes so that I can let's see, okay, what's here? Plenty children, chai. Yes, we are. Okay, just a few things in the chat window. All right, so what image? All right, I really love this image because this was not my original intention. I did not plan to do this. Okay, so this was also in my room. Tega Salibi is my really good and old friend, and I just saw him. He met me like, "Hi Elvis, let's shoot." I'm like, "Sure, why not?" Oh, I think it was me that reached out to him. One of them, but we've been doing things together for like 2 years now, two years here about. Yeah, so and then it was like he came to my room. It was a student council room, a really big, had space. So I had so behind him here is a light, not a backdrop. I had my big parabolic umbrella behind with my AD600. Then I had my my V862 speed lights by Godox in a 120cm umbrella. If you don't understand all of that, sorry about that, but yeah, that was just on him. And while I was editing, what I normally do, okay, I have a video on how I edited this on my YouTube channel, excuse me. So I think you should just go up on my YouTube channel and you'll see the video there. Right. So yeah, that's that for that. Yeah, so this image I shot before the lockdown, and the reason why I really love this image is because, I mean, look at who commented. Emmanuel Yeleke commented on my post. What? Big H Studios. What? I mean, these are like my top like guys. Like they're my, I don't know the word, man. I really look up. I love their work so much, man. Like, and they commented. I thought I tagged them, Sha. So yes, a bit of politics there, but nonetheless, this image really speaks or spoke to me because I shot it before the lockdown, and it was 2 days after I shot this image. I had to travel back to Warri, to spend some time with my family before coming back to Lagos, and then there was lockdown, and boom, I couldn't travel again, and that was what inspired the caption. You know, blah, blah, blah. Right. So I said, I hope this image helps to tell you that you should not stop dreaming. This is only for a while. We will all come out stronger. And yes, now we actually have come out stronger with all the courses you got to take and time spent with family, just discovering yourself. I said, there's hope, leave no room for fear or doubt. Get to work rather, work on yourself and those personal goals you set. Take steps. You can still be a renowned photographer and blah, 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 blah. Use this period to your favor. Yeah, and it spoke to a whole lot more persons than 515. How do I see the insights here? Okay, I can only do that on my phone, but it reached thousands of people, right? Thousands of people, and I was really just happy that I could share something. So when I was editing, so something that I do if I have shoots that are not planned, that are not client work, basically, I may have an idea, but I always give it some time, and then sometimes I just look at the image, and I always just wait for the right time to post, and it always comes out when I eventually post it, it's really just the right time. So I didn't know that there was going to be lockdown or anything when I shot this image. I just asked him to. I was shooting with my good friend Fabulous Banji. He was in Warri. He was in Lagos then. Sorry, right. So I shot with him, and then yeah, that's that for that. Okay. So this image was a light test. Let me come to more recent work now. Let's see. All right, so for more recent work, all right, so this is an image of my friend Casey. I was testing out. When you're shooting, you always want to test out your lights in isolation of one another. Okay, so I turned off my key light, as you can tell, and I had a reflector somewhere around here, and I was exposing just for my LED lights. I know it's funny on his head, but before this shoot, I was talking to my friend Casey, and we were talking about times and seasons, which was going to be his next. Everybody's got their own time and season. His next album, I believe, or an EP. Right, so he was talking about how everybody has their own time and season, and then we're both going through a phase of our life where we were like, okay, we know this is not the best it's going to be. It's going to be better off, and then so we have like lights behind, and we have him looking away. So it's more like just like, I think this image will better explain that for you, right? So I called it living my comfort zone. So you see, like, light is behind this guy, right? And then you see him, like, let me use the regular term. You see him backing the light. So he basically turned away from the light, right? Walking away from his comfort zone, which is how we kind of like that's what we need to do. So my work has always been about living your comfort zone, basically. So living where you're celebrated, living where you have comfort to, and pursuing your goals. Like, to actually achieve those dreams you have, you need to live where you are. Who said I believe it was Miles Monroe that said it is insanity to do the same thing over and over again and expect the same results. I believe that's Miles Monroe. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so okay. Let's see. So this was at a wedding I shot. Most of being a portrait photographer, most of my stuff, I always approach it from a portrait guy's perspective. So this was at a wedding I shot at Imo State at the beginning of the year with Midewe and Somi, right? Or yeah, basically we traveled. I traveled with Mide and Somi to shoot this wedding, and then I saw Cornelius, and I'm like, hey, what's up, bruv? How you doing? First time we met actually in person, and then I was like, let's shoot outside. I'm like, sure, no problem. He's a model, so it didn't take him time. Then I saw my colleague from school, Valerie Buniwe, good friend. So I also called her, and then like, let's shoot. So this image, Well, we were just taking a whole lot of images, and then I discovered how beautiful the light was falling on her. And I was not really bothered about the fact that the light was exposing her and, you know, more or less like blowing out her skin tone. Yeah, because here you can just see pure white, and there's even no texture there, and here as well. We can see it mainly here and even here. I just love the effect, and so that's the reason why I called it half of a golden sun. Right? I just love how it came out, right? God, the way the light fell on her, and then I was like, yeah, let's shoot. So now this is exclusive. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you too much about this image just for personal reasons. Right, but yeah, that's an image of my very, very beautiful and outstanding, astonishing friend, Ebube Chi. Right, so this image was shot since last year. Okay, it was shot since last year, and we just did not find time to post up until now. Right, so yes. All right, so just before I get into the question and answer session, I'd like to talk about a certain image. And I think that's gonna be this image. All right, so this is my the new page I started out for wedding work. So, at this point, I posted this image on my WhatsApp status, and a lot of persons were like, "Wow, are you serious?" In fact, one of my good friend Mofe, he was like, "Man, bro, how did you get the level of detail and sharpness?" I mean, I was just like, if only these guys know what happened when I was taking this picture. At this point in the wedding, I've delivered the pictures now, and then the clients, the bride and groom, they were really impressed with all the other images. I mean, this was their wedding basically. This image and every other image of them I see on my page, right? But this particular image, bro and sis, like at this point, I literally didn't know what to do because there was no time. The dad was already like, all of you should come down now. No time again, no time again. And then I was my friend Timothy, he was the one assisting me at Ibadan. And I was like, bro, what do we do? Like, we didn't know how to arrange the other elements because there were just so many and we didn't have time to like be creative and all. So I was like, and most of my best work have actually come out from me just chat, just do you, just do what you think is right. Right. So, they were shouting, and then I just like, I just put it somewhere, and then I focused on the ring, I believe. I was shooting on a 50mm lens here. And I just got this image, and it's one of my favorite images right now. I love the colors. So how I even came about this color, I created a preset for to edit my weddings with. So I create one preset based on all other images, and then I apply over everything, right? So on this particular image, it was looking somehow. So I left it for like 2 days to edit the other pictures. Then I came back to this for like 2 days, and I was like, what do I need to do? And I knew that my problem was not really about the color. So I just did a simple thing, and I reduced the saturation, and boom, I just struck with it immediately. And I was like, okay, this is it, man. This is it. Yeah. So, and then, yes, for this image is really lovely, right? And I love this image so much. There are two other images here. We have this one with the money and this one, right? All candid shots. But this image, there was actually a video camera guy standing here, right? I already saw the magic in the highlights. I was, speeding up of her face because it was really bright outside, and we were in the living room of the family house at Ibadan. There was in fact, if you look well, you can even tell because there was somebody standing here with his equipment and video, and I was like, bro, you just picked the wrongest place to be, but your storytelling also happens when you're editing or retouching it. Editing post-production basically is also part of storytelling. So I did not want that element to hinder what the image I was trying to create, right? So I had to just stamp him out. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have an editing live Zoom like this soon, so we can have one-on-one. You can ask your questions. I'll show you and tell you how I edit, and yeah. So let me see your faces before I go ahead. How does this work? Okay, I can see Ohida. how do I maximize this? All right, no problem. Let's just go ahead. Okay, so with the question and answer now. All right, I think this can work. So for the question and answer segment, I'll just answer a few questions. Okay, I said I'm going to answer all. So I'm going to be as swift as possible. And you'll have to bear with me, with the speed that I'm going to be using right now. All right, so the first question says, how do you prepare yourself? How do you prepare yourself before a job? That was asked by, okay, this person just has a fairy as the name. I don't know who that is. But the person said, how do you prepare yourself before a job? What I do before every job is that I like to, like I said, I find time to communicate with my clients. Either I call or we chat on WhatsApp or wherever, or we meet physically if it's possible. And then I just get to know you and understand why you want to shoot, right? Yeah. I try to explain to you the value of photography, how that my work is essential in preserving the history and stories of mankind. Without photography, you don't know what your grandparents or great-grandparents or great-great-great-grandparents look like, but you probably saw a picture of them. You don't know what life has been before, this century, like eons ago, because of photography. So I let them know the importance of storytelling and very much creatively so, right? And then, so this is just me letting them know, because when we get to a point of agreement and we share the same psychology of work, then I can now start to understand you. And so how I direct you is basically based on what you'd like to portray. And I in conversation, I bring it to a point where what you are trying to portray is actually who you are. And so we both find the best way to tell that story, the story of you. Next thing I do is that, okay, when I understand what you're trying to create and I have a mental image of what you want to create, I just check around on Instagram. I check around on Instagram. I check around on Pinterest. I just check for ideas, different ways, and pick something from here, from there. We all do Pinterest, so no need to form like we're all original. All right, so I go on Pinterest and I just get a few ideas, and I shoot from there. Okay, so which lens is my favorite? 85mm 1.8. I love it. Samuel McLaurin said, "How are you this good?" I would say, even though I know that question is just Sammy trying to be Sammy, but thank you so much for thinking that I'm really, really good. Okay. So basically, it's just practice and me just not really caring what people think about the work.
It's not Sammy trying to be Sammy. I meant that question with my entire self because, bro, you're good. Like, I tell you this and then.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, I wanted to know how you're this good. Maybe you've drank some juice that I need to drink.
Oh yeah, I drank coconuts. Please don't let me make me deviate. Thank you so much, Sammy. That means a whole lot to me. All right, so I've gotten to a point now that I don't really care what people think about my work. But I was not at this point not too long ago. I see a part of me still wanted people to smell and be like, "Guy, Mado, great work." I like how that feels. I still like how that feels till now. But I've actually gotten to the point where I'm now trying to create for me. In fact, I was sharing with someone that I think maybe next month or next 2 months, I'm going to stop taking clients' work for quite some time and just shoot because of what I love. I mean, because the more you keep on getting bookings, I shoot like every week basically, and then there are a lot of events during the month as well, and I'm always editing, and it's based on what the clients want. So a point just comes that you won't be creating based on what you want, and if you don't create what you want and build a legacy of what you like to create, people who like what you like to do will not exactly come reach out to you because you're not putting out what you love to do. So it will help to find that balance between what you love to do and what your client wants to see, basically. Yeah. Let me pin this.
Sorry to interject.
Sure.
You saying this now just reminds me of Kelechi Amadiobi. Like,
okay,
that guy does, so one time I interacted with him and I realized that the bulk of what he does is not what clients want. It is basically what he wants,
Yeah.
And I can see the joy. So I love to hear photographers talk about the stories behind some of their pictures. That's why I said I really appreciate you for doing this. And when I
Thank you
heard
so
some of the
much.
stories behind some of the pictures that Kelechi did, like it made me realize that honestly, this photography is an art that you should really appreciate and
Mm.
never stop doing what you as a photographer enjoy to do.
Yeah,
Because when you get a lot of client-based job, you tend to lose sight of that. And
true
yeah,
that,
and I
true
think
that.
that's really amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well done, Elvis.
thank you so much, Sammy. All right, so who influences slash it inspires your work? I would say life actually, because I look at a whole lot of good photography every day, every single day. That's why my Instagram, I don't follow a lot of people. I just follow accounts that inspire me because I want my time on social media to be valuable, right? So if I come on Instagram, I mean I should be seeing posts that inspire me to do better, to conceive better ideas, more creative ways to express my already fantastic ideas. Yeah. How do I make this big? I can't remember how that works. Anyway, um, but nonetheless, people like Emmanuel Oyeleke, BKH, yeah, they inspire my work a lot. And then for international photographers, men like Felix Kunz, Lindsay Adler, I love her work a lot. Annie Leibovitz, I love the psychology behind her photography. She's one that says carrying so many equipment just make you dead at the end of the day. So she doesn't use a lot of equipment for her photography. And yes, Sue Bryce as well, amazing photographer, portrait artist. I love her work. And Tosin Junaid, my really good friend. I love his work a lot. And then he's really inspiring me to create more of the kind of work that I want to create, basically. What inspired you to be a wedding, fashion, and beauty photographer? My love for wedding, fashion, and beauty. All right, so I love weddings because of the love and candidness, as it were. I love to celebrate love. I mean, I'm a product of God's love, right? So every pure expression of love is it for me, basically. And it's even better that I'm a photographer. So I get to document something I love. So that's why, without taking too much time. For fashion and beauty, I like when I go on pages of maybe Dolce and Gabbana or all these other fashion or lifestyle brands. I love how their images look and how you see those images, and then they inspire you to want to get those clothes, and then just inspire lifestyles and how you look. Basically, it's just me liking how the images look and what they're able to do, right, in the minds of persons in terms of how an image can influence a perception. Because I'm trying to be the part of the bunch that would give you images to give you to influence you positively, basically, and also appeal to your sense of style and yeah. How do you pick the kind of photography to focus on? Shoot, 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 and shoot. Just be shooting whatever you love to do. Start shooting what you love to do. If you don't love it again, shoot on something else that you love to do. Basically, just get your camera or your phone or your iPad out and shoot until you're tired of so many other things. But whatever you're not tired of, that's what you love to shoot. How long did it take you to grow into photography? I think I'm still growing into photography, and I'll forever be growing into photography until when Christ our life shall appear, and I shall appear with him in glory. How did you manage photography and academics? I did not really manage it so well. Though the first time I got my camera in 400 level alpha semester, I had my best results. I mean, and that's most likely because then I did not have it. Many people did not know me. So I was getting client bookings, and or I only had like maybe 2 or 3 bookings that month or that semester. I had a lot of time to my academics. Next semester I was on IT and then 500 level, and here I am. So yeah, so when I got back from IT, apparently the whole school was shouting story. I didn't even know that people knew me like that. I'm walking on the road and now hear someone like, "Hi, oh my God, are you Story of Elvis? Wow!" And I was like, "Yes, I am." Then I started getting a lot of persons wanting, and then I was already charging like ×4 what I was charging before, or 5 or 6. So fewer people were reaching out to. More people are still coming. So fewer people were reaching out to join or to learn rather. I think I can stop sharing my screen at this point. Sammy, can I stop doing that now?
Yes, you can. I mean, since you're not sharing.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Yeah. So this is what I was trying to do before. Great. So yeah. Okay. Great. Okay, so yeah, so I got a lot of persons booking and I got a lot of shoots, and that took a lot of time from me actually. And then I was not at optimum performance academically, right? So I probably didn't handle it so well, but it doesn't have to be you. You should handle yours so well, right? So yeah, that's how I manage photography and academics. Is liking photography enough for you to start a business? Liking anything is not enough for anybody to start a business. To start a business, you need to learn about business, learn business strategy, learn how to market, learn how to position a value, how to target your customers. Yeah. Did you see the money in it before venturing off? Actually, I did not. I never even thought I was going to be paid more than I was going to be paid up to $500,000 for a job. I never thought I was ever going to get to that level, And this was just like 3 years ago. But the more I kept on learning and expanding my mind, so the barrier is usually in your mind and how much worth you are trying to ascribe to yourself. A lot of persons don't really give themselves that, they don't rate themselves basically. So, but the more I grew in my work, the more I grow in my understanding of God's word as a person and seeing how much God loves me. I mean, I know I'm badass. I'm a speck, man, right? So that really helps how I thought and imagined myself. So I started to value myself more, and then my self-worth began to grow a whole lot. Yeah. So eventually I saw that the more I grew, the more I saw that, okay, so I'm seeing another person that I think I'm better than, and then they're getting paid like 50K for portraits. I'm like, okay, we can do this too. And yeah, here we are. How do you plan a portrait photography? I think I already answered something like that before. Yes, the same process basically. Okay, a reply to the first question says, or was it a leisure thing that spurred up spontaneously? That's the person who asked whether I saw money in photography before venturing off. Well, for me, it was leisure and passion, because I wanted to just explore. Can you please mute your mic? I can hear someone. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bayoku Mary, could you please mute? All right, thank you, Mary Bayoku. Yeah. So yeah, that's what happened, and then somehow, the more I wanted to know, the more I learned, and then the more I grew in my knowledge. What advice would you give to those who want to do photography non-professionally but still want to be fire at it? Well, keep practicing, keep shooting, just keep learning, basically. Learn all you can and practice all you can. But you most likely may end up doing it for business. But if you just want, it takes a lot of work to be really, really fire at photography. And I don't think you would want to be really fire and not want to make money out of it or turn it into a business. So, but nonetheless, work. How did you know when to start getting paid for your photography? I knew when people started asking me how much I charge because I was just putting out work that I thought was good, and then somebody was like, "Hi, how much do you charge?" I'm like, "Oh, so people want to pay me for this thing." I was nervous then, but I grew into it, so that's when I knew. Okay, so Kenny, I love Kenny because she's always so meticulous. So Kenny has 7 questions. I'll answer them swiftly. What kind of light for a one light setup is good for portraits on a budget for a start? I'll say you can get any light. You can start with the Godox TT520. I believe that's a very budget friendly light, about 16 to 20,000 naira. It has a trigger, so you can use it on a 120 cm Godox umbrella, softbox basically, and get a normal stand. So that's a one light setup. It can absolutely kill it, but you can't shoot beyond 1/250th or 200th of your camera's native shutter speed limit, basically, because the flash doesn't have a high speed sync feature. Let me face the light, sorry. It doesn't have a HSS feature, basically. So yeah, I think that answers that question. Does the light setup determine the sharpness of the image, or it's just the focusing of the lens, retaining good details after editing? That is. I love this question. Well, your light can, in a way, de-emphasize skin texture, and then when we're looking at the sharpness of an image, I mean, you're talking about how much detail you can find, right? So yeah, if your light is too feathered or too harsh, it can de-emphasize. I mean, when you start having a lot of hot spots on your subject head, it can tend to de-emphasize your skin texture or overemphasize it, and by the time you start to retouch, you may end up retouching a lot of texture, you know. So yes, it does. It actually does, because light is what gives perspective. Now you can see the Rembrandt effect light has on my face, basically, and then here is completely dark, right? But you can still see my skin texture. But if I had maybe a diffuser or a white paper to diffuse, because I'm using an LED now, if I could diffuse this light, you know, so yes, it has a little effect from my own experience anyway. What's the best way to retouch the skin smoothly? Yes, with any details. Use micro dodge and burn, because there are two types of retouching. Basically, there's destructive retouching, which is where you have frequency separation, and then you kind of like you separate your image into high frequency and low frequency, which is your skin tone and skin texture, and you start to work on them, isolate and you know, separate of one another. At that point, you've already it's kind of destructive, because it's messing with the pixel details of your image based on that division. But when you're using micro dodge and burn, you are only dealing with the light alteration. So you are burning the bright parts and you are dodging the dark parts so that they can be even transition. So it retains a lot of skin texture, and that's what big retouchers like Pratik uses. So when you've done a whole lot of micro dodge and burn, you can now still apply a bit of FS, frequency separation, to you know, even out those transitions. How do you clean up the background after adding a skin tone that most likely, how do you clean up the background after adding a skin tone that most likely affected the whole image? You're talking about masking. Just go on YouTube and type how to mask. Well, basically, but if you add skin tone, there are different ways you can add skin tones. If you add skin tones using gradient maps, for every layer, you can add something called the layer mask. Okay, so when you add a layer mask, you see something that is white to the side, or black, depending on how you added it. So basically, white reveals and black conceals. So when you see that thing by the white, the layer you created already affects the whole image. Okay, so by the time you take your black brush and you paint on the areas that are white, you are hiding that effect from the parts you don't want it to, in this case, your background. And then wherever you leave as white, you'll be seeing what you're doing on the white layer mask. Or if it's black, you take a white brush and then you paint on the black area, just paint on the area that you want to reveal, right? Make sure your opacity is at 100 or whatever level you want it to be, and your flow as well. And then just paint on that part of the image, and it's going to reveal that effect. So you asked me about masking before. In summary, that's how you mask. Is there any other way aside the selection tool to whiten the teeth? I don't use selection tool to whiten the teeth. I simply just, basically it's not white because there is a lot of saturation of another color, most likely yellow and red or green, and then it also doesn't have a lot of brightness. So the easiest way to go about it is just to create a new adjustment layer for your hue and saturation. Take that brush, that color picker tool, and just tap on the teeth. It picks the color, either yellow or red. Drop that saturation to 0, and then increase the brightness, the lightness there, or create a new levels layer. Increase your levels, and then you now have to mask it into only that part. So when you do that, it's going to affect the whole image. So you can just use Ctrl-I or Command-I on your Mac to invert that layer so it becomes black. Then you now take your brush and take your white brush and paint on the teeth or on the eyes. Yeah, and then that happens. So you said aside number 6 now, aside getting presets and Lightroom, is there any other app to color grade an image? I've seen something of different colors and circles, but I don't even know what it's called. So aside getting presets and Lightroom, is there any other way to color grade? I color grade on Photoshop. I also color grade on Capture One. That's my major color grading tool right now, Capture One Pro. I use Capture One Pro 20 to color grade, right? You can buy it off the what's it called now? I can't remember the name of the site, but just type Capture One, right? Pro on Google, and then you see the software you can buy. Yeah, so I use that to color grade as well, and then I use it for tethering. So when I tether my images there, I apply my default color grade, and then I export to Photoshop to retouch and maybe add some more color grade if I feel like I'm not satisfied with the previous image. And I think there's also Lumina something. I don't know. I've heard about it, but I don't use it. But don't do so many things. The more software you use, the more confused you get. You may get. Number of perfection. How do you upload an image on Instagram without it cropping? I don't know how you guys do it. It's simple. Number one, ensure that the image is perfect on its own first. I had this issue a lot. That's why if you notice some of my earlier work that I showed on my page, some of them appeared a bit pixelated, not so sharp. So what I started to do was that I would ensure that I'll ensure that, number one, the image is already perfect. It's perfectly shot and lit, from camera as much as my knowledge can create. Secondly, I save for web. Okay, so when you hit Command Alternate Shift and S, or Control Alternate Shift and S for PC, for Windows, you see save for web, right? So I just leave settings like that. Click on save for web. And then sometimes I can drop the quality to like 95 or 90. It doesn't affect the image so much. It just reduces the size, because Instagram works with a database. So they're trying to optimize size of uploaded images so that they can have a lot of images. So they will always compress your image. So what I do is I also crop my images for Instagram to 4:5 ratio. When that happens, Instagram is not applying any crop again. So when I do that, I click on that arrow facing up and down to expand the image, so it goes to 4:5 default. So they're not cropping my image anymore. And then I upload from an iPhone because I also think it could be an OS problem, because when I was using a Samsung A7 2018, some of my images still had that issue even after doing all of this. But when I switched to an iPhone, I did not have the issue so much. But nonetheless, what I just told you is a very good way to avoid that problem. So Kenny, thank you so much for your questions. Joseph said, did you ever start with mobile photography before? Yes, I did. I started on an iPad. Mekene Chris replied to his question, said, man, this photography thing go hard though. Well, anything can be hard or easy, depending on how you approach it and the level of knowledge and experience or rather the level of knowledge you have, and how much you are willing to, put in the work. Yeah, because there's a lot of work to become really good. But I mean, you don't have to see it that way as hard. See it as a learning process. I mean, even you learning to speak as a child was not so easy, but then you're a baby, you were just start saying things that you're hearing. You're not thinking about, oh, this is how to speak, this is how to do that, you just kept on going. And basically that is how you should approach photography. Just, keep on doing what you can do. If you are passionate about it, the best camera is the camera in your hands at that moment, okay? Right, until you can afford something better, use your phone and just explore and then learn how to tell visual stories. Okay, whoa, I've actually answered all questions. Okay, Daniel Ohida just asked the question. He said, did you at any point have to attend a workshop since you started photography, or you evolved learning all by yourself? Well, yes, I actually never have attended a photography workshop. And that's as sincere as I can be sincere. Okay, let me think. So you don't think I'm lying? No, I can't remember any workshop I ever attended. Never, actually. I've just watched YouTube videos, asked a lot of questions. Yeah. So does anyone have any question? You can ask in the chat box just before. Okay, so I think you can stop sharing screen so we can see you well. I already did that. So does anybody have any question for me? You can ask in the comments, in the chat box just before I go off. Any question? You can ask me anything. I'm going to answer anything at all. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Mofe, your network sounds like you are in the desert. Could you just text? You could write your question in the chat box, or you could send it to the Telegram group and I'll see it. All right, someone said, if FS is destructive, how come it's still common? It's still common because it's very easy. I mean, it's so easy to just create your upper and lower and but most people that you see that destroys, I hate to see skin texture. That's it. I mean, now at least even with my 720p's MacBook Pro's digital camera or webcam, you can still see my skin texture. So why is it that you now use good camera? Yeah, editing now we can't see your texture, right? So because the more you start to use your mixer brush or lasso tool, whatever you use to do FS, you are losing skin texture. You have to be really good with FS to not lose skin texture. And the whole idea of photography is not to destroy an image. It's not to make a human being look funny. On my ride back from Computer Village today at Ikeja, Lagos, I was just engaging my Bolts guy. And then I asked him what is his perspective of a perfect picture. So I showed him three images, and told him to deconstruct them for me from his own knowledge. And then he actually spoke like what I would have said. I showed him an image that was overly edited, and then he said that the lady was looking like that puppet in Pinocchio. That he was only looking too perfect and unreal, man. Oh, like Jesus. Right. So, but that's not how you want your image to look like. I told him that my perspective of portrait photography, is not to make a human being not to look like a human being anymore, but to represent a human being in let me use the word it in its most or in our most perfect state. And perfection in this case cannot be defined without a level of imperfection. That's what makes us human. That's why we have makeup brands. That's why we have skincare products, right? Because nobody's born perfect except the baby skin, So, but as we keep on growing, the law of diminishing returns affects us. Right? So, yeah. A level of imperfection should still be there. So let's still see the skin texture, Let's but nonetheless, people have different styles. So yeah. Someone said, okay, that's more fair. Oh, Ohida said, attending a workshop and investing in a gear, which do you advise? Both. Like literally both. Attend a workshop when you need to. I'll be having a virtual workshop soon as well. And then also invest in where I'll teach a whole lot of things, how to structure your pricing, how to market, how to get more clients, how to charge more. It's not going to be free, but it's going to be worth it. All right. So you asked, attending a workshop and investing in a gear, which do you advise? So I think I answered the question now. You need both, right? But you need to do a lot of learning to know what kind of gear to buy. And then when you get a lot of gear, you need to do a lot of learning to know how to use your gear. So they're kind of like, you don't have to follow my path. The reason why I'm like this is because I gave in, you don't want to know how many hours a day I was doing in terms of practice. But that's really not important now. If you see a workshop that you can afford or you can save up to attend, by all means do. It will make you grow faster, actually. And then investing in gear also. But don't buy what you can't use. That's a mistake. I mean, I have a lot of gear now, but that I don't use. So yeah, I'll soon do a giveaway. I'm actually serious. What speed light do you have in your camera bag, and what's your opinion of the Godox V1 if you have any? All right. So instead of getting the Godox V1, when I got my speed lights, the V1 had not yet been produced. If I can remember correctly, but it's around the same price range. I got a Godox V862. That's the speed lights. I plan to get another one soon, a very cheap one. That for maybe 20-25K that I can just keep in my bag and use for on the go stuff. But I got the V862 because of high speed sync and it has a rechargeable battery. So I don't have to buy AA batteries. I keep on charging every time. So I just have a single rechargeable battery that I can just charge and use. I love that fact. What's your opinion of the Godox V1? It's good. I don't have it. I don't use it. Friends of mine use it. And yeah, it's actually good. How much do you charge to shoot? What kind of shoots? Let me know. And how often do you increase your prices? Okay, so basically my portrait sessions start at somewhere between 40 and 45K for a single outfit. For weddings start from 400K for a single day, 400,000 naira for a day. That's really cheap, I know, right? And then if you have a question, just speak on you can send it on the chat window and I'll respond to every. All right, so and then for events, somewhere from 200K and above, that's for a normal, maybe 2 hour, 3 hours event, like maybe a hangout, something like that. How often do you increase your prices? I increase my price to something I'm not comfortable with. And then when I get comfortable with it, I increase it again. I know right now I'm worth maybe between 1 and 2 million naira for portrait sessions. I'm not there yet. I'm not comfortable charging that yet as well. Do you understand me? Right. So I increase it until I become comfortable with it. When I'm comfortable with that pricing, I increase again. Yeah. And I always offer more. So secondly, the more I learn, okay, the more I grow in my ability to communicate, the more I learn in my ability to deploy and create value and represent ideas visually as a creative. The more value I provide, the more I charge. How do you set up for HSS? This is quite exhaustive, but just ensure that number one, your camera has high-speed sync capability, which I think every camera should have. Yeah, and then of course you have to. That's you going beyond your native shutter speed of 1/180th, 1/200, or 1/250th of a second. Right. Ensure that your light also has high-speed sync capabilities. That's why they're already expensive. Like the 8600 is about 200,000 naira now, or the 8200 about 130 or 140,000 naira now as well. Yeah, so you ensure that it's on as well, and then you also ensure that you have a trigger that can trigger for high-speed sync, right? So yeah, I currently use this Godox X Pro. I don't know if you can see it. I use the X Pro trigger. Yeah, and then light is quite a lot. It has a HSS. Yeah, it has a sync. You can't see, but if you know the trigger, yes, it has a high-speed sync functionality. It's about 40-50K in Nigeria now, so cop on for yourself. How much do you charge to shoot? For a birthday shoot of, do you mean birthday or family? You said for a birthday shoot of a family shoot. I don't get that. But I'll assume you mean for a birthday shoot or a family shoot. So for a birthday shoot, it's a normal portrait session. Starts from somewhere between 40 and 50K for an outfit, and goes as high as 500K. So for a birthday shoot or a family shoot, yeah. So for family shoots, starts at 90,000 naira. 90,000 naira for a family of 2 or 3. The families from 4 and 5 go up from 150 and above, right? Yeah. So any other question? Okay, so we'll take 2 more questions, and that will be all for now. Thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful that you're all here. So we'll just wait for like a few minutes for any other person that has any more question. And while I'm waiting, can you just turn on your cameras so I can see your faces? And let's take a screenshot as well. Don't be shy, come on. So Daniel Ohida Benga said, did you at any point have to pitch your service to any brand to get a job? Well, yes. If you're going to get a big job, then you're going to have to pitch your service. Right. So let me think of a time where I had to do that. All right. So there was this company that reached out to me through someone sometime last year. That's just one. There were a lot of other times. But the company asked for, what can you do? Why should we pay this amount of money? So I started to pitch here. And I've had to go to the offices of clients, had to go to their houses or call them on phone. So yes, I've had to pitch my service to brands to get jobs from them. And then for Multina, when I worked for Multina, or when I started to work for Multina, basically, it was just, I was shooting at an event, and then one of the top staff saw my work, something I just did candidly, and they were like, wow, are you serious? And then she really loved it. And so, yes, that was my pitch, basically, but I'm still going to send a proposal and some other stuff. All right, one more question, and then we will be out of here. Any more question? Anything, ask me anything. It doesn't have to be photography related. It could be anything.
So I have a question about like collaborations. Where do you draw the line between, if someone wants to collaborate with you, maybe a model or a makeup artist, how do you know when to like collaborate with the person or actually charge? Do you understand my question?
I totally get your question. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's a very good question, because I mean, my inbox right now is full with a lot of collaboration requests, even my email as well. The way I know how to collaborate is, number one, let me just be very normal, be a very normal person. If it is a season of your life where you're not making a lot of money, two things can happen. You can either want to collaborate to create content, or you cannot. So if it's a season where you need to make money, I mean, if photography is your main source of income, one good way of marketing is through good content. You know, they always say that the reward of good work is what? Is more work, right? So if somebody comes to me with an idea that is something that I've been willing and thinking about creating, that has been on my mind, and it has commercial value as well. It's not just that we all have free time. Let's just go and shoot something. It's when it's well planned. In fact, the first thing I ask from somebody who asked me for a collaboration is, I'm like, okay, what ideas do you have? Send me your mood board. Let me see what you have created before. Because some people want to use you to practice. They've not done anything before. They just saw, good photographer, or let's use him and practice. That won't be me in Jesus' name, right? So I would like to see a level of hard work on your own side, because I'm going to put in my whole best to ensure that what I'm creating is going to be international standard, all right? And then I need to get that level of involvement from you as well. So if I can't see that level of involvement from you, and I can't see that you are, if you just want me to just come up with concepts, come up with ideas, some people think that they are fine. I've heard so many people. Because they will message you and they were like, "Hi, I think you're a great photographer." In fact, somebody I never replied in my life, she was, I'm sorry, she was like, "Hi, I really love your work. You're an awesome photographer. Let's create something together, you know, whenever you have a chance. I have a lot of followers, plenty of people will see your work. Once I see that thing, I can block you." I can block you because
turn off.
I'm not looking for followers. I'm looking for clients. They are two different things, man. Do you understand? And yeah, as much as I love art, I love to create, I need to see that level of intention, that level of planning and willingness to create something that matters to me, matters to you, matters to everybody on the team. And everyone on the team is actually putting in that level of work, and we're trying to explore, you know, new ground. So it's, I mean, we do more together. Collaboration is a very awesome and an amazing avenue to explore your skills as a creativity, to explore yourself, to work with people, to learn the virtues of teamwork, and to create what you've never created before. Because when you have more persons on the team willing to, you know, think outside the box with you, then you have an opportunity to go beyond what you have ever done and create more magic. All right, so we can still take one more question before we go. Anyone have any question? All right, so I'm guessing that will be all for now. So I'll thank you all one by one. Thank you so much. I can see your face, Daniel Ohida, my guy. Thanks a lot, Daniel, for being here. Thanks a lot, Sammy. Sammy is my, I don't know the word, man. I'd have said it's my boo, but that would sound wrong. Thanks a lot. Tammy Lore. Tammy is such a beautiful human being. Like, I've not met anybody like Tammy yet, because she has a very beautiful heart. You know, she's always willing to learn, and then she's always willing to be of value. She's one of the most valuable persons in my life right now. I kid you not. Right. So thank you so much, Tammy. Thank you so much, Mofe, my G. Thanks a lot, Mofe. This is your signature studio. I think this is where we had our first Instagram live chat, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks a lot for coming. Richman Atat, I believe in you strongly, man. I believe that you are not yet at your best, and I believe that you are going to be at your best soon, right? And I'm always here for you. Ayomide Fapo Honda. Her name is strong. I love you. LL. That's like God. Hey, God. I don't know who you are as well. I'd love to see your face, but I love you nonetheless. Otani or Otani. Not sure how that's pronounced. I can't see your face, but I love you. Popola Joseph. I know you and I know your face. I know what you look like. I love you as well, my brother. Tony Graffa, my guy. This guy that slid me in that Ibadan trip. I'll never forget. But I shall still love you, man. Onojake Mercy, 18CK. That's 100 or 200 level now. I don't think I heard anything from you all through this meeting, but I love you so much. I love you so much. B. Yoku Mary, Ebire Gabriel, and Ikini, I feel like you're in my house. But I love you, man.
Yes, I am.
All right, man. I love you so much. All right, someone asked a question. Please, how do you plan your pod? See, this video is going to be available on YouTube soon. As I'm speaking now, go and subscribe. So I'll give you the link. Go on YouTube and type Story of Elvis without space. Okay, just Story, OF, and Elvis, no space. Subscribe to my channel. You'll see this video maybe by tomorrow or tonight or next year, whenever. But I'll upload it by tomorrow. It should be up by tomorrow. All things working fine and good. And then also, yeah, so follow me on Instagram to see more of my work at Story of Elvis as well. And yeah, I mean, this was a very engaging class. As I asked for no money, I was willing to answer any single question you have or you had to the best of my knowledge. And I'm also willing to do more on the group chat if you ask them, you know. So I think the best you could just do to give back is just to, you know, share my work with your friends, your family members, you know, recommend me. You know, let's get more. Esther is just coming. Okay, how do I admit Esther? All right, so yeah, so just share my work with your friends. Follow me on Instagram at Story of Elvis. Share with your friends, share on your story, on the status, engage with my post, and God bless every single one of you. Filani Esther. Yeah, just come, you know, Ekushema, welcome. And goodbye, because we're about to close this. So yeah, thank you all for coming. God bless you all.